Hello and welcome to Talking Good Game. It's the match preview against Arsenal against West Ham United. Two sides with contrasting results on the opening day of the Premier League, but we are back with West Ham's first away fixture. Gonzo, when Pellegrini left, Arteta was
Yeah,
very much possibly at the very top of your list. You've certainly in your top three, possibly even your number one manager to
yeah.
come and replace him. I thought it was a bit risky. How do you think he's got on at Arsenal? Are you now even more adamant you were correct to make him your number one choice?
Yeah. As much as look, I think yes and no, yes and no. Would he have been able to do what he's doing at Arsenal at West Ham? I'm not so sure. Within the confines of working with our particular ownership, as much as I'm sure a lot of the Arsenal supporters are probably surprised that two things. Number one, he has been backed. He's been able to bring some players in he wants to bring in, and also he's been able to get a tune out of the players that were already there. Would he have been able to replicate that at West Ham? Who knows? But it was quite clear which is why I said it at the time. He had won a reputation even before, funny enough, even before City picked him up. Before Pep picked him up, he had a reputation, even on the training ground, as being one of the best. He did his UEFA badges early, and you heard not only that actually he was very likeable, he was very easy, he was very good at man management as well. And he was tactically very good as well. So he had an ethos, like Pep has an ethos, but also he had attack. He was able to change shape and basically get everybody round to his way of thinking and convert all the players to playing in his system. So I've seen nothing at Arsenal to suggest otherwise. I think it'll be a real success for them actually.
I've been very impressed by him. I think there's almost a bit of calm about Arsenal at the moment, which is something they haven't really had over the last few years. Then, particularly in the latter stages of Arsene when he was there, then pretty much during the whole of Emery's tenure, even when he went on his unbeaten run, there was still a bit of unhappiness with him. They weren't convinced he was the right choice and stuff. They went to the Europa League final, they still weren't convinced by him. And they were proven correct in the eye of the Arsenal fans that he wasn't good enough there. But I feel like now, I think Arteta's just chilled out a little bit, and I think that's what they need. They just need a little bit of stability. What that is in terms of where they finish in the league table come May, we'll get onto that in a second. But I think they just need almost like a long-term project. I think Arteta might have done what he's doing at West Ham just on a smaller scale. Really, both have got or need rebuilding jobs. Both teams and clubs need stripped back to the bare bones a little bit, and you go again. I think that possibly one of the biggest credits you can give Arteta for his man management is that Aubameyang's now signed a new contract who looked like he was on his way out, and we all know to get to Aubameyang you got to go through his father essentially, and Arteta's managed to convince both of them that commit your future to Arsenal here. You're not just convincing one man, you're not just convincing a football player, you've got to convince his dad as well, and Arteta's done that. I think he's made a couple of clever signings in the summer. The Willian wages look a bit extortionate, however there's no transfer fee, so it makes it a little bit more reasonable. I'm very interested to see how he gets on actually. Out of all the managers in the Premier League, I think Arteta, as a curiosity to see how well he does, I think he would probably be in my top three. He's a bit like Hasenhüttl at Southampton for me. I'm now sitting back thinking, come on then, let's see what you got. I'm interested to see what he can do at Arsenal. But what's his aim for this season? As a neutral, obviously. What do you think would be a successful season for Arsenal?
Well, I think he's already chalked off the trophy, so I think he knows he can do that. I think that's quite. Whilst at West Ham we'd love a trophy, I think particularly towards the end of Arsene Wenger's reign, they weren't quite happy just winning these cups that they were doing because they slowly stopped competing for the Premier League. Do I think they can? Do I think they can better Manchester City and Liverpool? No, I don't. Not this season. But I think they have got a massive shout at top four. And do not discount, despite the money that Frank Lampard spent at Chelsea, and he's not spent anywhere near as much as that Arteta, do not discount the possibility that Arsenal finish above Chelsea. Because whilst, what's his name, whilst Kroenke might not be a favourite with all the Arsenal fans and this, that and the other, he sits there quietly and I don't think he causes a fuss. He did back him last season in Pepe with lots of money. He's backed Arteta in this season as well, in this transfer window. And he's sitting back and not causing a stir. You always get the feeling that even though Abramovich will back his managers. He's there. He's there in the background, waiting to pull the cord on the guillotine, so to speak. So I think top four should be their aim, will be their aim, and is very achievable.
I think top four should be their aim as well. I think if they can finish fourth, I think that would be a good season for his first season in charge. The problem is, because of Aubameyang's age, I think he's almost got to get some relative success in quickly to make the most of, in my opinion, their only world-class player. And I don't mean that as an insult to Arsenal, because I don't like calling players world class. I'm a bit funny when it comes to that. I refuse to call Hazard world class when he was at Chelsea, for example, for a bit of context for Arsenal fans. But they've got one world class player. However, I think he's past his age wise. He's past his peak now a little bit. So I think he's got a short term to get it right and get the most out of Aubameyang, because Aubameyang is a game winner. He's worth points. Top four. I think it is achievable, but I think he's probably got the worst squad on paper at the Sky Sports top six. I think he's probably got the worst squad. I think he's working with the weaker of the six there. But this is where he's going to get tested as a manager, and if he's got that about him, I think he needs another one or two signings before the window closes. I think he needs backed further. I know they're after Aouar. If they can get him into centre midfield, I think that'd be good. Because when I seen their team last week, and they had Xhaka and El Neni starting in there, I thought, it's not really a Champions League centre midfielder. They need something in there, and I think that would be a good signing for them. Well, you kind of asked my next question: will they achieve it? Do you see, if you had to put money on it now, would you put money on Arsenal finishing fourth or above?
Yeah, I think I would actually. I don't not a lot, you know me. I'm the man that bets 25 pence. Yeah, so a pound steady on, old son. Yeah, I think I would. You mentioned about the squad. I completely agree. I saw that team myself, and I thought, oh my goodness, I was just pleased Aubameyang was in, because he was in my fantasy league team. But I looked at it, and I looked at, for instance, you had Maitland-Niles there, and I thought, I wonder how Saka feels about that. Very much. You said he's persuaded Aubameyang, for instance, and I want to digress slightly to sign a new contract. Well, he also persuaded Saka to, who wanted out. He's also, Maitland-Niles wanted to leave. He's also persuaded Maitland-Niles to stay as well. Apparently Bellerin wanted out. Apparently Holding wanted out. There's a lot of players there. He said, oh no, hold on, stay with me as well. He's persuaded Ceballos to come back, even though he had other options, who was magnificent when he came on, by the way. And, I think you'll see him starting in the central midfield. He seems to be able to manage people, but also I think he can create the team as get more than the sum of their parts. So whilst Aubameyang is the world-class player, I'll tell you what, he'll get a massive tune out of Lacazette, massive tune out of Willian, and you may see players like Tierney and of course this fella Gabriel he signed. You may find out of those the sum of their parts. He creates a real team, which I think can carry him forward. How much they get distracted by Europe. When I say distract, it's going to be interesting to see. I'll be interested to see whether he thinks that going for Europe is a viable option, or he just plays what he considers to be his best team in the Premier League every week and then chops and changes for Europe. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I'll go along with that. I think if you can get into the top four, I think it is achievable. I was impressed with how they played last week, though, Arsenal. I was very impressed how they played. I think Arteta's got a formation or in a way he wants to play. I think he's got a style he wants to play. I think the Kieran Tierney role is a bit of a strange one, playing left centre back. However, if you can get him playing it perfectly, he could be onto a winner there, because he was making runs out of the back three and running forward and stuff. And I thought, okay, that'll work if you can catch teams out. And what I said about Aubameyang being a bit old, we'll get on to those players, because there is a lot of young talent coming through, and I think if Arteta can guide them into the team, he's onto something there. And with that said and done, our final question on Arsenal, as always, the players you admire, please.
Well, lots of them. I was at Gabriel. I had a good debut, but I can't say I admire him. I've barely seen him. I do like Ceballos. They've got to be careful with Ceballos, because Ceballos started last season fantastically, and then he fizzled out. So he seems to have come off the bench, and he seems to have started the season fantastically. So, but hopefully hopefully for them, they'll consider that's a little bit better. It is funny, because I don't look at their team. I've never looked at Maitland-Niles and thought he's brilliant. I've often looked at Bellerin and thought, yeah, you're fast, but there's some technique lacking there. You see, he's like a Ryan Fredericks. No, I'm joking. Xhaka as well. You think, yeah, okay, you got a big old shot on you and all the rest of it. I think El Nene is a decent player actually, but he's a bit of a naughty boy as well, apparently. So I mean, he's got some things to manage there. I like the keeper, by the way. I do. I don't often notice keepers. I think he's quite a good keeper. To be fair, the front three is going to be really, really exciting, and I do like Pepe, who obviously came off the bench in that game. And Saka is a really good player as well. It's going to be really interesting, particularly if he's going to play that formation with that left wing back, because obviously Saka can either play as the full back or the winger. Which when players are like that, you almost think the wing back is the perfect one. So that's going to be a really interesting duel on that left hand side in terms of the players in the squad. But plenty there to admire.
I really like Saka. I'm really excited by him. I think he's looked an absolute talent. You can forget he's 18 years old at times. And I thought it was quite insulting actually when Gareth Southgate played Kieran Trippier there, and when he got asked about it, Southgate along the line said, I don't have any left backs or something. When you've got Saka playing left back, left wing back and left wing, and playing very well in left back, left wing back and left wing. I thought it was a bit insulting to Saka actually. He's probably my favourite Arsenal player. I think Maitland-Niles is really good actually. I think a lot of clubs have potentially missed a trick signing him when he was available. I'm not sure you could get him anymore. I think Arteta played him in the first game to almost say, I want you here. You are my man for this season. And I think he was linked with Wolves actually. Now, that would have been a very, very clever signing for Wolves, with Doherty just going to Spurs to play him at right wing back. I think that would have been clever. I think Ceballos has looked good once Arteta came in. He didn't look good prior to that, but he's back on loan now, so we'll see what he's made of this season. Lots of talented players. I think Willian's a good signing for them. I do think Willian's a good signing. He's a bit inconsistent, but when you've got someone like Pepe, it's alright to have an inconsistent player. Leave him in, and when he's off form, you take him out and you put Pepe in. It's not the worst selection to have there for Arsenal. Anyway, we're going to move on to West Ham, but before we do, if you would like to support Hammers Chat, the link is in the description below. I've done a video, or it's going up tonight for the patrons, which is on Arsenal, the team I expect them to play, the players to look out for, and the players to potentially, where we could get the better of them. There might be one position. You'll find out. And then on Saturday morning, myself and Gonzo do a video for the patrons. And then on Saturday after the game, we'll have our player ratings as well. So, all support is appreciated as always. The link is in description if you wish to check it out. Gonzo.
I'm scribbling down my team if you wonder what I'm doing.
Unprepared.
It's funny actually, because that's two games now where I found it easier to talk about the opposition than West Ham. I thought we sailed through that Arsenal bit, and I thought, he's going to ask me about West Ham now, which is...
I haven't done my research.
Tricky, mate.
I haven't done my research.
It's not research. It's just trepidation, isn't it? Really. It's a shame we can't have 12 players.
I'll give you a shoe in for the first question. Don't worry. Left back, we've got a bit of a situation here. Aaron Cresswell didn't play too well against Newcastle. I think you've got three options. You've got Aaron Cresswell, you've got Arthur Masuaku, and you've got Ben Johnson. Who would you like to see line up against Arsenal?
I will take Ben Johnson there, please, mate.
I'm gonna go for Masuaku, and I've got a feeling he will play, and I've got a feeling on the review I'm going to be very angry that Masuaku played. It's just I don't trust Ben Johnson's lack of discipline. I can't do it. The Bournemouth friendly, and then against against Charlton, he's booked very early on, and he's going to come up against better players against Arsenal. And if I expect Willian to start and be up against left back, and I would put money on it that Pepe would probably be a substitute and come on up against there, and that just scares me a little bit. I think it's quite a lot for a youngster. However, saying that, I wouldn't be disappointed if Johnson started, but I would be disappointed if Aaron Cresswell started. There has to be repercussions for the defeat to Newcastle. There has to be changes to the starting 11. Moyes has to make a statement here, and I think left back has to be the starting point. The rest of the back four, though, would you make any other changes, or would you keep it Fredericks, Diop and Ogbonna?
Absolutely, yes, I would.
I think I would put Balbuena in, I think Diop's been poor. Diop was poor against Newcastle. I think he had his moments against Charlton as well, but I think I would take Balbuena in. But I rate Balbuena. I'm aware a lot of people don't, but I think he's good. The only thing that was perhaps put me off doing that is Arsenal's attack's quick, and Diop does have pace on his side compared to Balbuena. But I think this is a game where you'll get away with no messing, which we saw against Charlton. We saw Balbuena just booting it away, and I think you'll get away with that a little bit. Alia, You want to see
Oh yeah,
Sebastian start?
I do. I really do. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna look. If I think if we think we're gonna sort of outrun um, Arsenal, we may well be very, very much mistaken. I think this one we're going to outwork. I'm pretty sure they'll be fit. I'm pretty sure they'll run. I'm pretty sure they'll press. They'll do all the stuff. I think if we're going to have any joy whatsoever, I think it is going to be the set plays. I think it's going to be the long balls. I think it's going to be holding it up and allowing some players to get into support as well. And I just think that's the guy he's got to do. I'm fearful. I can, in my mind's eye, I can see Antonio up front on his own, running round, chasing Holding. Holding then pass it to Gabriel. Antonio chases down Gabriel. He then pass it to Tierney. He chases to Cozan Tierney. He pass it back to Gabriel. Then we got Antonio. and I just see this happening. I don't want that, Gio, not for this game. And it's nothing to do with Antonio, who's in the team, who's in my team anyway, but just not in that position. I do want to see Sebastian Haller because I think if we won't get many chances, if we do, I think he's got a chance of finishing.
Yeah, I'm the same as well. I want to see Alio in there to almost give the defence an escape. He does win most of his aerial duels. I know a lot of people use it as a bit of a joke and say, "Oh, he wins headers, blah blah blah." Well, yeah, so let's utilise it a bit more then, because he does do just that. So I want to see Alio start. So at least 5 in midfield. Take me through your 5, please.
Okay, so I've got Rice and Souček in the
Agreed.
middle. But Cullen was.
We'll get on to him. We'll get on to Josh. Don't worry.
Okay, all right, fine. Now, I found it hard. I totally understand what you're saying, and I agree what you're saying. But maybe I can't think as creatively as you can. I'm sure you found a way. I haven't, because I'm too linear in my thinking. So I've got Bowen on the right. I've got Lanzini behind Haller, and I've got Antonio on the left. I couldn't figure where to put Yarmolenko in there, really. I couldn't put him in the Lanzini position because he's just not mobile enough. And I think if you had Lanzini and Haller inherently one in front of the other, you had Yarmolenko and Haller as almost as a 1-1, so to speak. I just think neither of them are quite mobile enough, so I've put Lanzini in there to buzz around a little bit. So yeah, that's my team.
Mine's the same, apart from Yarmolenko in the Lanzini role for you. I know they're not mobile. You don't need to be mobile when you're as good as they are with the ball at your feet. You can pass it. You don't have to run. Bowen can run and Antonio can run. Arguably, you could say it's probably a good thing they're not mobile because they're able to then provide the pass for those making the run. I've done a video, for those who don't know, I've done a video on the channel about why Yarmolenko should start, so I'm not going to get into it too much, but I'll be disappointed if he doesn't start. I don't expect him to, but I'm just a bit fed up of him coming off the bench when we're already losing. I want to see him start and get us a goal to put us ahead of the game. He won't finish the game if he starts, Yarmolenko. He won't finish it. He's not fit enough. He'll last an hour and he'll be in trouble. The only concern I've got with my own team is there's no plan B. There's no one on that bench. If we start getting beat, I know Lanzini and Anderson would be there, but I'm not confident that they would come on and do something. Yarmolenko and Antonio are the only two players I am confident can come on and swing the game in your favour offensively. But we're both left out Fornals. Do you not feel a bit naughty about that, given...
Yeah, I do. Yeah, a bit guilty, not naughty. I'm a good boy, which is why I feel guilty. Yeah, I do. I just can't find a place for him in there, and it ain't his fault. But he's had no opportunity to show any form in that number 10 role, and the most recent person I've seen buzzing around in there is Lanzini, who just This is important. I think they're really well organised, Arsenal, right? I think when we have a lot of possession, I wouldn't mind seeing Fornals in there at all, because let's imagine we have Haller. Let's say we have Haller, Antonio, and Bowen as a front three with Fornals aiming. If they're making runs, I think we've got lots of possession. I think Fornals picks them out. I don't think we're going to have a lot of possession in this. When you don't have a lot of possession, those passes are not going to be that prevalent when you see them. So actually, we might need someone that can dribble past a player or skip past a player to create space, to create the opening, which is why I've gone for Lanzini and opted out of Fornals. So just don't. And I am sorry for that. I really am. And it's nothing against him, and I hope he plays many games for West Ham, but I just wouldn't choose him for this one.
Yeah, either would I. I think there's when we play, after the tough games, we play Fulham, I would bring Fornals in for Fulham. I'd probably even put Fornals into centre midfield alongside Declan Rice if anything, and say, look, let's create way back. Let's create from the middle of the pitch here. Let's not wait till we're in the final third. Let's get the ball moving now. Josh Cullen, though, bit angry if he's not on the bench on Saturday night.
Yeah, I will be. I will be annoyed actually. Yeah, that's yeah, yeah. And you don't want that from your manager. There's enough frustrations with a manager, any manager, every football fan will have there'll be something, there'll be a quirk that their manager does that annoys them. So with ours, it's substitutions with David Moyes. We get annoyed with the way he doesn't make substitutions. It's continually the thing. He's got a lot better at picking formations recently. So and he often selects a team that by and large we agree with a lot. So it's substitutions. I don't want another string to the bow of not to like it, which will be continually ignoring players. And particularly players that when we as a fan base can all see that they have something to offer. We already have a little bit of that with Fornals, who, funny enough, we've just mentioned. So you'll hear that. Now, it's not gone on for long enough yet for us to be perennially annoyed with Moyes about it, but it's a case of the fan base think, Moyes, why do you play this player in the left wing position? It's already an annoyance. I don't feel we need another one, and that will be it. If Cullen does that, it's just a bad thing. It also sends the wrong message to Cullen, because I think if he doesn't play and he doesn't feature on the bench, I think Cullen will then say, what more can I do? And I wouldn't blame him if then Cullen said, look, there's a couple of weeks left of the transfer window. I think I'm done. I won't be signing a new deal. Look, I've tried. I've been here years. I've tried to forge a career at West Ham. It ain't happening. He has to. He has to. I mean, I noticed he'd been given top ratings by all the fans that had watched the game. Obviously, you and I thought Yarmolenko was the best player, but I think he actually won the fans' man of the match, Cullen. And I wouldn't argue with that. It's fine. Because we both thought he was excellent as well. In fact, in the player ratings, did I not give him a higher mark than I gave Yarmolenko got man of the match? And we had a chat about it, didn't we? So he needs to be involved. I would not just say on the bench. I want to see him come off as well, come and feature in the game at some point.
I can't see it, Gonzo. I can't see him being on the bench. For him, if let's say Moyes went with your 11, that would mean Mark Noble doesn't make the bench because Josh Cullen's there. He's not going to do that. I think he'll. I'll be surprised there's more than one change from the Newcastle game. By the way, I'll be very. I think he might change the left back, and I think that'll be it. I don't think he's going to change anything else. He might put Alier in for Antonio. I think the midfield five will be the same five that started against Newcastle. Therefore, if Cullen's on the bench, he's got to probably drop Anderson or Lanzini from it. And I can't see him doing it. I don't think he's got the. I don't think Moyes, while he gives it the big one about the youth, and I'm aware he played in Ngaki and Johnson, but his hand was forced at one point because there was no Fredericks and no Zabaleta. He wasn't leaving out an experienced player. As tasty as that got is when Zabaleta came back and he kept Ngaki in. But that was an easy decision to make, leaving a 34-year-old right back on your bench. It's an easy thing. It's not easy dropping Lanzini or Anderson from the bench and leaving him at the squad altogether. Bear in mind that he's also got Snodgrass as well, who, as it stands, won't be making the squad. This is a big call, and I'm not sure Moyes has got the cojones to leave an experienced player out in order to bring Josh Cullen in. But he's also got the perfect excuse. We play Hull on Tuesday night, following the Arsenal game. So he's going to say, Josh, you're starting against Hull. So he's already got a reason not to put Josh Cullen in the squad there. He's got a bit of a get out of jail card, and I think he's going to play it actually. Anyways, all team lineups all said and done. Leaves just two questions. First one, are you
am I confident?
Optimistic, shall we say?
Optimistic.
Well, I know you're not confident.
Do you know what?
No.
I sort of am.
Nah.
I sort of am. I think I expect such bad things to happen. They are so much better than us. I wouldn't be surprised. A little surprised there. I wouldn't be surprised if we do all right. They're brilliant. That front three were absolutely fantastic. And then as you say, like Capayas and Pepe coming on really added to the flair, didn't it? Look, I've got no evidence, Gio. I've got no evidence to be optimistic. But I don't know. For some reason, I think we may well be resolute. We may well be strong I think we might do better at the back. I think we might get some corners. I think we might. hold it at 0-0 for a while or whatever. Win a corner, win a header. I know they're meagre pickings, aren't they? But I'm optimistic that we might do better than the 5-0 thrashing, which everyone probably expects we'll get.
I'm glad that we're playing them at the start of the season, to be honest, before they can get into the flow of things, where they can really get up and going. And I think the 3-0 win against Fulham, I think they deserved it. I don't doubt it wasn't a 3-0 game, but Fulham contributed to that as well by just being crap. Fulham were just really poor that game. It was an easy opponent for Arsenal, and therefore I think it probably suits us. In both times we played them last season, we were very unlucky in both to come away empty-handed. At home we had that thing where Pepe come on, Masuaku allowed him to cut inside with his left foot and he scored that wonder goal, and then they went on to win it. And then at their place we had that nearly offside goal. Lacazette scored it, went to VAR and all that. So we were quite unfortunate. We gave them a game, certainly gave them a run for their money in both games, and we were awful. We were stinking bad last season. I think we'll have a go at them. I'm sort of... I don't think it'll be as bad as the Newcastle game for some reason. I think we'll be a little bit better. I don't know why. I don't know what I'm basing this on. But my worry comes down to substitutions again, to be honest with you, Gonzo. It's always going to come down to that. I just have no faith that we're ever going to see... If it's 0-0, our manager will not change it because it's 0-0. He's too scared to lose the 0-0. And then we'll go a goal down and it's not too late, but you think, now what? And I'm not confident he's got the know-how. Well, he does have the know-how, but I just don't think he's good enough.
I think it's the urgency, Gio. I think it's the urgency. He seems to try and hang on for a little while to that 1-0 loss. We seem to be going 1-0 down, and he'll take 10 minutes. It's a weird thing to see.
He just dithers. He's dithering in the transfer market at the minute, and he dithers with his substitutions. It's thoroughly frustrating when you're watching as a fan. You're thinking, come on, change it. We can all see at half time things aren't working. So I don't know. Anyway, prediction time. May I get your score prediction, please?
Yeah, I mean it's away from home, which wouldn't normally be a concern for us, but I thought post lockdown that stadium, the Emirates, was a lot noisier than it usually is. So it's going to be a bit of an intimidating atmosphere.
How long have you been waiting to get that? And this preview is 26 minutes long. Have you been waiting all 26 minutes to get that in?
Well, you got to do. I wrote a gag earlier last week, but no, it's going to be tough. It's familiar surroundings for them. They're a good team. I am optimistic it won't be that terrible. I won't be pleased with 1-0 loss, but I do think something like that is going to happen.
I put a disclaimer to my prediction here, and Gonzo's on his behalf. The lineup on Saturday may surprise us and therefore may change our thinking. So we've got a build-up show an hour before kick-off, which we will go through the lineups and give our final thoughts and prediction. But as it stands, sort of half predicting what I think David Moyes is going to do, which is not a lot. I think we're going to lose. I'm going to say 3-1 Arsenal. I think we'll score. I think we'll get a goal, but I think we'll get beat. Simple as that. Anyway, if you enjoyed this preview, drop a like, comment, subscribe if you're around here. We'll be live on Saturday it's an 8 o'clock kickoff, so 6:55, 5 to 7. We'll be live with the build up, and then we've got a watch along for the duration of the game. It goes immediately live after the build up show, and then immediately after that, we've got the match review as well. Loads of content on the match day for you. Like the video, subscribe, and myself and Gonzo catch you in a bit. Cheers.